Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity's Aftertaste with your host Keegan. And this has been an awesome conversation with Simba. So, if you don't remember Simba, he is one of the is it? I don't know if it's necessarily what title to give Simba, besides former co-host and now super special guest with regular appearances. And that's kind of the thing, right? Like the show started as a brain baby with it was going to be three people. It was going to be me, Bryant, and Simba, three guys in an Oxford house trying to get everything going. And it did not go that way, as y'all all know by this point. And so part of me is really conflicted of calling him a co-host still because it's been over a year since we really had him on, and maybe not so much a year, but actually it may have because it was April or yeah, yeah, it actually has been okay. And since then, a lot has changed in all regards. But the thing is that he's still a brother, he's still a best friend, and that's the thing is that like I'm not going to say no, you can't come on the show. It's just the show has grown and evolved in such a manner that it's more difficult to uh, necessarily say anything like that. I don't know. I'm conflicted in a lot of ways, but that's not the point. The point is that we got to air a lot of different stuff out, not necessarily for people to go, man, that's some dirty laundry. It's to be like, oh yeah, well, I can see where they were coming from and their experiences and what they're saying rings a lot of bells with me, maybe. And I mean, I spoke about the Oxford incident with, should I say his name? I guess Rob. Um, and that's the thing is that uh, Simba had a similar one kind of at Nehemiah because someone graduated and was not ready to graduate because they were still curious what fentanyl was like. And lo and behold, like I think literally a couple days after graduation, they found him on the side of the road because he had found some. And so, yeah, and that's kind of the thing with my situation was that Rob was going to do whatever he was going to do, and there's no stopping it. I tried. I did try to follow him after he left the house, after he was expelled, even without the meeting and everything, and it was a really crappy situation all the way through and through. And like, it is one of those things that it did haunt me, but I've seen my part in it and I've done my work in a lot of areas. There's some areas that I can definitely clean up a little bit more on, and I will do my best to, and I will do everything that I can to do so. And Simba has done the same thing in his own regards. And by that, I mean, whenever we had our fallout, things were just weird again, right? On his end of life, things were kind of weird for me because I was still trying to get everything like more solid with the radio station, and so I had a deadline to adhere to. So it was like I have to have an episode recorded and edited and submitted by this time. So I wasn't on my own schedule at that point, and it did not really sit well with him. And there's just a whole lot of other stuff. I'm going to not say any of that because it's not necessarily mine to say. But what I can say is that he was able to sit there and look at the last message that I sent, and I don't even know if I have that message. Like, um, it, if I do, I've sat there and been like, "Oh, I wish you would have like said something about it." Um, so let's see. Um, it may not. It may be in here somewhere. I really need to go through my. Oh, yeah, I actually do. April 8th is the last message. April 9th was the last message that I had sent to his old number. Um, and man, like, uh, so I was having a really bad day. It was the day of the eclipse, the total eclipse that happened down here. And it was just not a good day. So I had sent him a long message, and at the end, the next day, I was like, well, I was like, I'm sorry if I made you feel exploited or exhausted or overwhelmed. And I was like, short, sweet, to the point. Uh, See if he responds to that one. Never did. And he was saying that he was wondering why he never did after we had started talking a little bit again. And I could tell that it wasn't that he wasn't ready, but there was something else. And I had said that he didn't necessarily have the capacity to. And I don't know if that's still the right word or not. It's probably not. But he's able to reflect on it and say, like, hey, this is like, I feel kind of bad about it. And I don't know why I didn't, but I'm starting to learn. And that's like how I am with the whole Oxford situation. Like, it was really, really shitty, and I mean, it sucked. I feel like I was psychologically bullied for 2 years, um, and I got jumped twice in bed. So that really fucking sucked. But of course, no one's going to believe you whenever you have a nasty rumor about you circling around anywhere. So it's like, just better stay quiet in your own corner and not tell anyone anything. So I was in a lot of pain and stuff too, especially right out of, well, while I was still in some Oxford situations. And we weren't able to really uh, kind of air that out between each other for some reason or another. I don't know. And that's the thing too, is that he was my roommate, my first roommate in Oxford. So sometimes I feel like he should have been the first to say something and he didn't. And then I'm sure I should have said the first thing to him whenever he moved out of the room and started acting weird. So it's kind of like we both have our own responsibilities that we've dropped the ball, sure, but we've learned and we're trying to do better for ourselves and for those around us instead of just picking up the broken pieces of ourselves. So we've both learned a whole freaking lot. We've both had a whole lot of life happen. He's now engaged. He's going to get married next year. That's super awesome. I'm excited to see what kind of wedding they're going to have put together, and all that. So, I mean, like, I may have to be like, hey, Simba, we're going to live stream this. No, we're not going to do that. That'd be so messed up. He's not one of those content creators that is super big on the internet that everyone wants to see everything all the time. And I'm really glad that it's not that way. But um, let's see. He has grown a whole lot since we've last spoke. And I am almost a little jealous that he still speaks to our old counselor. And that's the thing, is that I totally could do that on my own accord if I had the time. And I don't. So, Kelly, I'm sorry, but I have a life too. Uh, and it's just kind of how it goes. So, yeah, like, I've learned a lot. I learned that I need to definitely work more on that work life harmony that I spoke with Arlene Cohen Miller, I believe, was the person that taught me about work life harmony and not work life balance. So it's one of those things that I'm learning so much through the show that I'm trying to implement it all. And I can't do it all at once, but I get the message when I need it. And then if I don't get it, it kind of just sits in the back burner because it, I'm just processing all these different conversations all the time now. And it's so many different dots connect to random, seemingly random things, and it's like, ooh, that's nice. And so Simba's doing that same kind of thing too with his smart recovery and the other people he has around him. So it's really interesting to see the parallels of how we are both still in lines of recovery because we are recovering or recovered from substance abuse, and we are now working on bettering ourselves. We are working on growing. We are working on maturing. We're working on emotional intelligence and all this different stuff. And so we have similar goals, and our paths aren't necessarily going to be 100% aligned, and that's totally fine. And it's just really interesting to see that parallel of how two people can have started on a very similar path. Nehemiah like broken. Nehemiah, still kind of messed up. Oxford, still messed up. And then getting better, getting better, and getting better. And it's not necessarily that the situations or the environments were wrong or anything like that. They each had their own valuable experiences that have taught us entirely different lessons in entirely different ways, and yet at the same time carry a lot of the same message. And a lot of it's just healing and owning up to our own crap. But that's what a lot of healing is in the same sense, too, in some regard. But we're also just having to learn how to navigate life in a totally different manner. But with that being said, I'm going to have to end this after take here. It's been a little bit longer than I anticipated, so thank you for watching. Check us out at youtube.com. Hit like, hit subscribe if you want, or you can go on over to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or just retrievingsanity.com and find a list of guests on all their websites right now. Still trying to rebuild that for the third time. And I know that was a mouthful, but we're just going to end it here. So much love and be kind to yourself, because if not, the boogeyman will get you. Bum bum bum. Schlan.